Top 10 points that every animal figurine maker should know, or what collectors expect from figurines. Point number 1. Making animals in natural and unique positions. Lying down, walking slowly, fighting, standing still, running, howling. Point number 2. Animals in different life stages are very attractive to collectors. For example, a teenage lion, an old dog, cubs right after birth, or a pregnant mare. Lately, I feel like this has disappeared. Either a cub or an adult is made, nothing else. Point number 3. Making animals and species that no one else makes. For example, banded mongoose, Siberian musk deer, sarau. I'll tell you a hole in the market. African red-billed hornbill. Do you know what animal it is? It's Zazu from The Lion King. All children must use a toucan when they want to play with figures for this fairy tale, and yet the toucan lives on a completely different continent. This animal is really worth making. Point number 4. Don't forget paint the belly, lower body, and inner side of the legs. The jaguar has spots on its legs and belly too. The zebra has stripes on its legs too. Please don't forget that. I don't like figures that don't have these body parts finished. Point number 5. Emphasis on details and shading. For example, if a horseshoe is created, it also needs to be colored, or a horse's nose. The fur on a horse's nose is shorter and thinner, so the nose has a different color, and therefore the nose needs to be shaded. The eyes of animals are always wet, so they must always glossy. Point number 6. The figure creator should create products that the collector is able to purchase and create an environment from the figures. Trees, bushes, houses, stables, mountains, cuts of meat, fruit, vegetables, and accessories. Point number 7. We need to know what kind of clientele we want to appeal to. Children or collectors. It can often be intertwined. However, in some cases, the creator must decide whether to prioritize appearance or functionality. For example, let's take these two kangaroos. The first is more suitable for collectors because it looks realistic and natural. However, the second will appeal more to children because it is functional. They can take the baby kangaroo out of the pouch and put it back. Point number 8. It is important to make animals of an appropriate size. Determine some approximate scale. This is not always possible. Point number 9. The toy should have an educational character. This point is related to all the previous points. The figure must be realistic so that it can capture a moment in the life of the animal. In the life of the animal. For example, resting in the shade, a horse galloping across a meadow, a polar bear sniffs food. The figure must tell about how the animal behaves during its life. Point number 10. I think that limited editions are a very good marketing move. Create a special figure, ideally one that reflects some event or some famous or special animal. For example, like the Marbach figure, which was created in honor of the Jubilee celebrated by the Marbach stud farm. Or the Satchmo figure, which was a famous German horse that raced. Schleich created a figure in his image in a limited number. There were a small number of these figures, and the creator can sell them for a higher amount. For a collector, it is a good investment considering that there are only a limited number of figures, and they will be very rare in the future. I will tell you some bonus information, but it concerns my subjective opinion and may not coincide with the opinions of other collectors and children. What should the product presentation look like? Personally, I always liked it the most when the catalogs of figures, for example from Schleich, had white pages and only their products were in color. The figurines stood out much better. The display cases in stores, where the entire landscape of the figures of a given brand was displayed, were also amazing. That always motivated me to collect, and I hoped that one day I would be able to have such a landscape made up of figures that were miniature animals. These were my 10 observations about what always interested me, fascinated me, attracted me, and what I liked about collecting and buying animal figures. I hope that this video will maybe inspire some creators, or that such feedback from a collector, it will help you keep improving because there are never enough pretty figures. I hope this video has interested you, collectors and children, and will encourage you to collect more and more figures because it is a nice hobby. The market is huge, and there is really a lot to choose from.